Alright, hello, what's going on, guys? I'm back with another video here, and I decided to go back to doing the more gameplay kind of videos with the gameplay in the background again, because I thought it was, I was getting back into gaming and everything, and I decided, hey, I'll incorporate it into my channel again, a little bit more like I used to. But today, I'm going to be talking about something that I've been, looking at a lot of stuff about lately, including YouTube videos or stuff I may watch on Hulu or something like that, for example. Or no, actually Netflix, but I was watching a show on Netflix called The Midnight Gospel. I've seen the whole series, but I was rewatching the first episode. It talks about Prohibition as a whole, not just of weed or alcohol or whatever or anything like that. Like more like Prohibition of substance as a whole, you know what I mean? And I saw Damien Skyfire's most recent video on Prohibition and everything, and decided I want to throw my 2 cents in, since I've been looking a lot into this, with videos and TV and everything recently. So, yeah. So, a city I was born in, during at one point when alcohol was illegal in the United States entirely. That's right, guys, there was a time in history where alcohol was completely outlawed in the United States. And what happened then, actually not what most people would think in theory. Alcohol was not, completely removed or anything like that. In fact, there's all sorts of gang-related activity that resulted directly from the prohibition of alcohol. And the city I was born in was one of the biggest cities for this, actually, due to the fact that it's close to the border, and people would smuggle fucking alcohol across the border, and because it was legal in Canada and everything, and in the US, of course, illegal and everything. And of course, going across the border lines is a lot more effective at getting things done for obvious reasons, due to alcohol is legal. They can't do anything about it in Canada, so they would smuggle it across the Canadian border, since it was legal over there, into the States. And the city I was born in became a total hot spot for people to smuggle alcohol at and drink over there and everything. And of course, it's sad to say that that was part of the city I was born in's history, but it is. I mean, there's a lot more interesting history to it than just that. But alcohol was prohibited totally in the US, and of course, all across the country there was gang-related activity, but especially in the city I was born in, and a few others that were on the borders and everything else, you know what I mean? So, and of course, stuff like weed is still prohibited, in a lot of states, and really across the world still. I mean, of course, some states have legalized weed and everything, and I believe in Australia and certain places over there, weed is legalized and everything, or at least for medical use. I think in a few states in Australia it's legal, but there's certain places that have legalized it. Canada's legalized at this point. I'm surprised the UK hasn't, but I know Canada has. The state I grew up in, Michigan, has legalized it. You know what I mean? So, weed is something that originally, it wasn't illegal, because a lot of people even smoked it back then, but they would use it for paper and stuff like that, because hemp paper was a thing back then. And a lot of people don't know this. Well, some people probably do, but the Constitution of the United States was actually written on hemp paper, which hemp is weed. Actually, it's not what you smoke really, but it's what you put in paper and everything, you know what I mean? And of course, weed was made illegal because of, business-related reasons, capitalist society, that happens, of course. And there was a vote on whether to make weed illegal, and a certain business owner, actually, that was trying to make certain things that weren't made of hemp and actually of an alternative substance. It was all sorts of things, and, he had a big influence on this whole thing. And he was actually pretty much responsible, in the most part, for weed becoming illegal all across the country. And, in result, actually, other countries across the world, including Canada, the UK, and so on and so forth. And of course it was labeled a Schedule 1 drug, along with, you know, all these other psychedelic substances like LSD, you know, mushrooms, DMT, and all that stuff. That stuff was labeled Schedule 1 as well, along with, you guessed it, heroin and fucking shit like that, you know what I mean, fentanyl, stuff like that. And one of my thoughts on this, it proves that you can't trust certain governmental institutions all the time with providing you information, because if you're going to put something like weed as a Schedule 1 drug in the United States, along with heroin, you know, making it so that you can be prosecuted on almost the same level as if you were caught with heroin, you know, that's just absolutely blows my mind. You know, that weed was even put as a Schedule 1 drug in the first place. You know, it shouldn't even be illegal to begin with, in my opinion. But, you know, putting it as a Schedule 1 drug, like, are you serious? I mean, of course, you know, there's all sorts of lies made up about it back then, even though people, you know, have been smoking it for a long time, which kind of proves to the contrary of all the things they were saying about it. But, and of course, what does this result in? Weed being put on the black market just like anything else. And especially nowadays, you know, getting weed, you want to make sure you're getting it from someone you trust if you are buying it on the black market, especially. You know what I mean? But, of course, weed's legal in my state, so I wouldn't really have to do that if I wanted to get any, but I still remember even the days when it was illegal and everything. You'd have to fucking make sure you're getting it from, like, some family member or someone you really trust or something like that, close friend. You know, isn't, you know, fucking around with some, you know, cocaine dealers too or anything, or they don't sell crack or something, you know what I mean? Because the ones that, you know, sell more hardcore substances like, you know, cocaine and Molly and all that, that shit can get laced in there, man. And, you know, of course, I've never had that happen to me, luckily, because I'm not that stupid to just go out and buy it from anyone. But still, what is, you know, making these certain substances, especially like weed, like, what good has it really done with, you know, getting rid of these certain drug-related crimes? It's only made things a lot worse, you know what I mean? I mean, just look at these places like Amsterdam that have, you know, made certain substances actually legal. Of course, like weed, and I think they've legalized psychedelic drugs too, I'm pretty sure, but, you know, crime rate has gone down over there because of that, actually. And, you know, violent crime rate included, because, of course, in drug-related crimes, violence can be included, you know, with people that will, you know, rat them out. You know, there's so many situations that can happen that can cause violence under the, you know, underground, you know, criminal drug world and all that. But still, man, all this money, all this time and energy spent on, you know, the war on drugs and everything could have been spent, you know, actually putting money, time, and energy into getting better mental health for people who actually abuse substance. I mean, yes, you know, certain substances for sure can be abused. Definitely, you know. And of course, people could say, yeah, and, you know, people could eat too much or whatever. Yeah, that's true, but, you know, certain substances, of course, they do have a physical addiction to them. Of course, heroin and everything like that. You know, if you're doing something like that, you probably fucking need help, you know what I mean? Like, doing something like that, that's extremely dangerous, especially nowadays with all the other shit they'll put in it, you know what I mean? Not just rat poison, but fucking fentanyl and all that, which everyone probably already knows about at this point. But, you know, if you're doing something like that, yeah, you probably need help, but throwing you in prison and, you know, potentially actually resulting in some other altercating effects, you know, after you getting out of prison, you know, and basically not being allowed to get a job or anything. I mean, isn't that going to push you back into possibly, you know, using again because you don't have anything else to do because they won't let you get a job or anything? Which it actually does, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's actually why they want to make these, you know, certain substances, you know, they crack down on them so much, is because, you know, they want to create, you know, people that are just in and out of jail, you know, because they know that's what benefits them most, is, you know, keeping people in prison for, you know, money and labor and all that. And it's fucked up to think about, but if you think about it in theory, it's probably true, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, we caught this guy in the corner, you know, who just bought some fucking, you know, weed. Oh yeah, let's throw him in prison for fucking 5 years and put him on probation and stuff like that. And sometimes even, you know, classify him as, you know, an extremely bad thing, but to the point where, you know, they're not able to get us that good of a job because of it. It's just fucked up, in my opinion, to do that to someone. It's creating criminals out of everyday people, especially with stuff like weed and all that, because so many people use weed. It's the most popular, you know, illegal drug, of course, and of course they still bust a lot of people for it, especially in, you know, some of the southern states where it's completely illegal and everything. I mean, just look at how many people are in jail in Texas, even still, because weed is still illegal over there. It blows my mind, you know. I just think certain things should be more like Portugal, you know, where we haven't necessarily, you know, criminalized all these drugs, you know, but we've actually made it so that it's easier for people to get help instead of just totally ruining their lives because they got caught with a certain substance one time. You know, it's just, I think it should be more like that, you know. And not all substances are created equal, and this is actually from the Midnight Gospel. It was said in the first episode, not all drugs are created equal, and it's true, because, you know, you have these kids out there, and college students too, that will, you know, be doing Adderall because they, you know, can't sit still, apparently. And it was exposed, actually, you know, throughout time, that Adderall has only a slight difference from crystal meth, which is fucking insane, you know. That's, you know, used for medication, but they don't want to use weed for medication in certain places still. It's just fucked up, in my opinion, you know what I mean? And, you know, it proves, like I said, that you can't trust governmental institutions with providing certain information, especially on shit like this. And this is one of the biggest fails I think our government has ever done, you know. So anyways, I'm pretty much done here, but let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. I'm open to discussion, and I'm willing to listen to a lot more on this, because I imagine there's a lot of interesting things we could get sparked up here in the comments, you know. That is, if YouTube will allow a lot of these comments. But, you know, just try not to use too many words that YouTube doesn't like, and I'm sure you'll be fine. But, yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this, and let's get some interesting conversations going. So, peace out, guys.